Hello, my name is Brenda, and it's Chatty Clouds time again.
Hi, welcome to my channel, My New Me, where you get to watch as I try to make sense out of the chaos that has become my life and my home. How lucky are you?
I'm pre-recording and pre-uploading this video because I'm not really sure if... Hi, I know, but I'm busy right now. Okay? Sorry, we were ever so rudely interrupted. I know, by you. It's okay. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do it on Saturday. So we're going to have company throughout this video, it sounds like. I'm talking, so she has to talk at me. Hi. Initially, the topic of this video was, well, according to the votes, it should have been, what are my plans for the future? However, I'm going to change that. The next video was supposed to be stories from my past. So I thought this week I would share that instead. I am having a procedure, a medical procedure done on Friday, October 20th. And plans for my future are going to be based on the results of that procedure. And I don't know if it's going to be, whether it's in and out, I can go home on Friday, or if I'll have to stay longer. All that is going to depend on what they find during the procedure and what they suggest the next best step should be. However, I didn't want to skip a weekend, so I'm pre-everything in this video. And hopefully I did it right. And I don't know if I have my time zones fixed or not. It's been a crazy week and a half. I'm also hoping today or tomorrow to finish up my update video. Every time I think I have it done, something new happens and I add to it. So I need to stop doing that crap and just get it up there. I think it may not be the best editing in the world, but I'll at least get it out there. It's been a crazy, crazy week and a half. Well, actually, it's only been a week, I think. It's kind of crazy. So anyway, after all of that, let's get to some stories from my past. I think to truly appreciate the story I'm about to tell you, you need a little bit of background story. Shortly after Thanksgiving, when my son was about a year and a half old, my husband and I decided to no longer be husband and wife. And from then on, I was a single parent. I worked full-time, sometimes more than full-time. I raised him, I cared for our home, I cared for the car, I did the yard work, I did the housework, I did everything that needed to be done. I was involved in every activity that the boy was into. He was my sole reason for existence. So I did everything I could to give him the best type of life I possibly could. However, having said all that, I don't really consider myself as having to raise my son alone, mainly because I had my parents. They were there for us 100%, 24/7, no matter what the situation was. They were always there to help. They were involved in every aspect of my life as a single parent and of the boy's life as growing from toddlerhood to little boyhood to preteenhood, which was a joy and a half, to teenager, to all of it. They were right there with us, by my side, behind me, helping me, sometimes undermining my authority, but I think that's what Grandma and Grandpa are supposed to do. Now, I'll be completely honest. There were times when this was not the best situation in the world. When you're 35 years old and your mother is at your house at 7 in the morning telling you what to wear to work and what not to wear to work, and how to do your hair and how not to do your hair, that can get a little old at times. Just a little. However, those instances are completely overshadowed in my mind now. And that is because my parents gave the boy and myself so many experiences in life that we would never have been able to enjoy had it not been for them. The story I'm going to share with you now is an example of those experiences that they made possible for us. In his younger years, when I was a small child, my father had worked for the railroad in our area. Prior to that, his father had been an engineer for the railroad, and he drove the trains. Do you drive a train? In my world, you drive a train. So he would be a train driver. I think it was an engineer. As a result of this, my father knew a lot of people who worked for the railroad. Actually, my father worked in construction, and he pretty much knew almost everybody in our entire area. This was good in a lot of ways. If any of us ever had any problems or needed help, we never had to go far until we found someone that knew us or some member of our family. However, as a side note, this also meant that I could not get away with anything when I was a teenager. They would usually know about it before I even got back home. But I digress. Back to my father knowing people on the railroad. The boy was around 2.5, 3 years old, somewhere around there. And at that age, he loved trains. He loved trains, he loved tractors, he loved big trucks, backhoes, front loaders, anything along those lines. But he absolutely adored trains. My parents had keys to my place, I had keys to their place, etc. We pretty much had free access to each other's homes. And I was woken at 6:30 one Saturday morning by my father shutting the front door and calling, "Hey, Bren, are you awake? Is the boy awake? Get him up, get him dressed, let's go, we gotta hurry." Next thing I know, I'm throwing clothes for the boy and snacks and drinks and food and anything I could think of into a bag. Suddenly, I'm sitting in my father's truck, he's driving, and I'm getting the boy dressed in the front seat of his truck. He was potty trained at the time, but he still required a diaper some nights. And so we had to change him, and I had included a diaper or two in the bag because my father had said it would be several hours before they could stop. I'll admit, I was getting slightly irritated and a little impatient with my father. I was trying to get the boy awake and dressed and functioning. I had not had coffee yet. I was still in my pajamas and barefoot. And Dad is driving just a little too fast through town. And every time the boy or I asked, "What's happening? What are we doing? Where are we going?" he would just say, "You'll see, you'll see, you'll see." I was getting just a little irritated. And then we're driving across a field, in the middle of a field, at the edge of town, towards a train that is stopped on the tracks in the middle of the field. At the side of the train, the boy's eyes grew huge. He was all open mouth and huge eyes, saying, "Train, Gumpa, train." And Dad laughed and said, "You want to go for a ride on the train, buddy? You can drive it if you want." And that was the best thing in the world to that little man. So apparently my father had been having coffee in a coffee shop when he ran into the engineer, and he found out that they were taking the train to a town an hour or so away for a maintenance run and would be turning around and coming back. And one thing led to another, and the engineer agreed to wait in the field for Dad so that he could let his grandson drive a train. And then I would meet them when they came back to pick my father and my son up. So it was just amazing. Now the engineer was on a schedule, so we had to hurry. So we're scrambling out of the truck. My father hands first the boy up to the engineer, then the bag. Then he tries to climb up. And as I said, my father was in construction. He was a strong man, but he had a belly and he had short, stubby little legs. So he was having trouble climbing up into the engine of the train, even reaching that bottom ledge thing that they climb up on. So my father is backing the truck up to the train as the engineer is shouting to me over the noise of the train as it's sitting there idling. Do trains idle? When and where to meet them to pick them up once they're done with their little train ride. As my father is climbing up on the tailgate of the truck, which is very nearly touching the train, I'm getting behind the steering wheel so that I can pull away as soon as he's on board. So I'm watching in the rearview mirror, waiting for my signal to go away, and my father is halfway up when he stops. He and the engineer talk to each other. My father climbs back down into the tailgate, and the engineer handed the boy down to my dad. And I'm thinking, oh no, for some reason they can't go, and the boy's going to be heartbroken. But nope, nope, that is not at all what happened. My father stands the boy on the wall of the truck bed, facing out, helps him pull his pants down, and there's my 2.5, 3-year-old son peeing off the side of the truck in front of a running train in the middle of a field on the edge of town. So he pees. My dad pulls his pants back up, hands them back up to the engineer. Dad climbs up onto the train. They wave at me, and I pull forward a few yards so that I'm well away from the train. Then I climbed out of the truck, and I'm standing there in the middle of the field, barefoot and in my pajamas, waving at my son and my father. My father holding my son up to the chain thing that pulled the train whistle. And there's my son, a great big grin on his face, those blue eyes just as huge as can be, pulling that whistle, grinning at me, at the engineer, at my father, and they pulled away. That was one very happy, very excited little boy. And it was approximately 4 hours later that I met them, fully clothed this time. I'd had coffee. I was ready to be out in public. My mother was with me, and we were at the station waiting for them to get back. And that was, like I said, a very happy little boy, a very proud grandpa, and a very happy and proud mom. And grandma was just beside herself. She was tickled pink that the boy was able to experience that my father was able to experience it with him and provide that experience for him. So that story pretty much, that's the gist of my life with my parents. Whatever opportunity they could come up with to make life better and bring some happiness and joy into my life and into the boy's life, they did that. And then told me what to feed my son and what not to feed him. Told me what flowers to plant in my flower bed and what flowers not to plant. I guess that's parents for you. And that was my father. And that was how he affected my life as a young parent of a young child and my son's life, and how he made both of those lives much, much better and much happier. I have a little kitten. She's got her face right in front of my face as I'm trying to talk. So that was one story from my past. I hope you enjoyed it. And it's just a memory that will always be very special to me. And it's something that my son doesn't actually remember it, but he's heard the story many times. And I'm hoping that when he has his own child, maybe he'll be able to look back on this video and play it for his child, and they can hear the story. Will you stop? She's like between me and the table trying to push my face away from the computer. I think somebody's jealous of you guys. She wants me talking to her and not to you. So thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed the story and the cloud watching. And please like, comment, and subscribe. And come back again. Take care and toodles.